What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. In this video, I just want to go over my EDC as of 2023. So what you're looking at are my everyday carry items, and you'll notice two firearms. I don't carry two firearms. I carry one, and I just want to show you the two firearms that I most often carry. So we have a Glock 20 over here, and then this is a Smith & Wesson Model 629 Performance Center 44 Magnum. And the Glock 20, for those of you guys who don't know, is 10 millimeter. So I usually carry one of these two firearms for my concealed carry. And as far as a personal protection knife goes, I carry this Columbia River knife and tool minimalist katana, and I have this in a kydex sheath, and it's set up to wear on your neck. Okay, so this is a neck knife. I always put that on anytime I head out the door. As far as flashlights go, I just have this Through Night Black Scout Survival version 4. Through Night sent this to me to do a review, so that's mostly why I carry it, because I got it for free basically. And it's a really good light. I've had this light for 2.5 years and it's still going good. It has 2000 lumens output on the turbo mode. So this is my EDC light. What I like about it is it has a variety of different modes, including the Firefly mode, which Through Night is very well known for. And that's just a super low mode. It's like 1 or 2 lumens, and it can last for, days and days. Look at that. Just barely any light coming out of that. But it's just enough if it's really dark out. Even just 1 or 2 lumens is enough. And it'll last for just an entire week, I believe, if you were to just leave it on like this. So for a survival situation, really good. I have this folder knife, but this is not my personal protection knife. I don't like folders for personal protection. I prefer a neck knife, because a neck knife, you can draw it much faster and easier, and you can deploy it into a situation much faster. I have this more just as a utility knife. As you can see, it's a Cobalt, nothing fancy. I just picked it up at Lowe's. It's just a utility knife, basically, if I have to cut something or whatever. And you'll notice here from my Glock 20, I have 2 extendos. One of them has bear loads, because I do a lot of hiking, and sometimes I'll just go into the woods randomly. I live in a rural area, so I'm always going into the woods. And so I always keep an extendo full of bear loads in case I decide to go for a hike. Okay, these are 220 grain hard casts. These are hand loads. And I've chronographed these around 1200 feet per second, 700 foot-pounds. And then for my primary ammunition for self-defense, I have these 200 grain jacketed hollow points, and these are also hand loads, and they're 200 grain Hornady XTP. Okay, a lot of guys say you shouldn't use hand loads for concealed carry, and in my opinion, it doesn't really matter, because whether it's hand loaded or whether it's factory ammo, to me, I just don't think it matters. What matters the most is that you're justified under your jurisdiction's deadly force laws and use of force laws. So you need to know your use of force laws. And my Glock 20 has some suppressor height night sights and a Surefire X300 5-inch KKM barrel. And I normally keep a standard capacity magazine in there, which is 15 for the Glock 20. And then Sometimes I'll put a suppressor in with my EDC, and the reason why is just various reasons. I like to have it. A lot of times I go to the range. There's a lot of ranges near me, and I'll just stop in and shoot a little bit, and I like to use the suppressor. So that always comes along with me for the most part. It's very lightweight. And I usually use this 511 fanny pack. I'm going to do a review on this. I believe this is the Inferno. It's an excellent fanny pack, and so you can draw your pistol out very quickly from this fanny pack. And I have a spare pocket up here. This is where I keep the spare barrel load extendo, my flashlight, my folding knife, and my suppressor go in this outside pocket. And then in the main pocket I keep my Glock 20 and then my extendo for the personal protection ammunition. The reason why I carry an extendo is, number one, it fits into my fanny pack and it makes reloading much easier and simpler. Rather than carrying two separate magazines, I can just carry one spare extendo. It just simplifies things. Rather than having two or three smaller magazines, just one bigger one. It's easy to grab. It's easy to find an index. So this is what I've been carrying lately for the most part. But sometimes I'll also carry my 44 Magnum. When I lived in New York, this is what I carried because New York, they have capacity restrictions. You can only own a magazine that holds 7 rounds or less. And to me, having a semi-automatic with 7 rounds is just pointless. So you might as well just get a revolver. And this is a 44 Magnum, but because it has a 2 5/8 inch barrel, it's not as powerful as you would think. A lot of guys think, oh, it's going to over-penetrate. How do you carry a 44 Magnum? Well, with a 2 5/8 inch barrel, the energy levels are slightly more than this 10 millimeter. So we're not talking about like Dirty Harry's level of power, because, you know, Dirty Harry had like a 7 or 8 inch barrel on his 629. I forget exactly what barrel length he had, but you know, barrel length makes a huge difference in a pistol, especially once you go below like 4 inches. You start to lose a lot of velocity. So a lot of guys say that this over penetrates, but it really doesn't. With a 2 5/8 inch barrel, of course it's going to penetrate a lot more than a 9 millimeter. But I live in a rural area. I don't live in a big city, so keep that in mind with my EDC, okay? I live in a rural area, so a lot of times I'm in the woods and I need a firearm that works both for in town and in the woods. And this Glock 20 and this 44 Magnum are perfect because they're concealable, but they have a lot of punch. If I run into a bear on the trail or an angry bull elk during the rut, there's a lot of elk in my area in Pennsylvania. And so I like to have a little bit more power than a little bit less because, like I said, I live in a rural area. I'm not super worried about over penetrating, okay? And you just never know what situation you're gonna be in. You know, having a firearm that's a little bit more powerful in a self-defense situation, in my opinion, is actually a good thing. Because what if you're in a situation where you have to use your firearm for anti-material purposes? Let's say somebody's using a vehicle as a weapon. If you have a more powerful handgun, you can do more damage to that vehicle to try to stop it or slow it down, versus if you have a smaller caliber, smaller cartridge with less energy, less penetration, you're not going to do as much damage to that vehicle, okay? And I've been in a situation where I had some crazy guy chase me with his vehicle, and you know, thank God he didn't try to ram my car, but he actually tried to hit my car when he was parked in the shoulder. This was on a major U.S. interstate. He tried to hit my car when I was driving in the right lane and he was parked on the shoulder, and he turned into my lane, tried to hit me. I don't know why. I think he was on drugs. And then he sped up and started chasing after me. And then he ended up taking an exit, but he was chasing after me for some time. And in that situation, if I had to, try to take out his vehicle, if I had to shoot at his engine, shoot at his tire, I want something like this, or I want something like this, okay? So I can do a lot of damage. And as far as reloads go for the 44 Magnum, I usually just carry some speed loaders. And you'll notice I have some hollow points here and full metal jacket. And the reason why I have some full metal jackets is because of the penetration. If I'm in a situation where I need a little bit more penetration, then these full metal jackets will do the job. It's an HKS speed loader. And then I have a speed loader pouch that goes on a belt, but I also carry this in a fanny pack just because fanny packs to me are just very comfortable and easy to use. So that's basically my EDC. This is a 511 fanny pack as well. Okay, and this can also be converted into like a shoulder pack or shoulder bag, whatever, like a man purse. Same thing with this one. So if I don't want to wear it around my waist, I can convert it so it hangs over, one side, sort of like a sling bag. So there's my EDC, guys, 2023. Pretty simple. Neck knife, good quality flashlight, handgun. Very, very simple. You don't need to carry a whole lot. I like to keep it as simple as possible. And I really like fanny packs because with a fanny pack, it's just so easy to have everything in the fanny pack and just put it on your waist and head out the door. I don't have to bother with putting a holster on, and then being uncomfortable. If I'm sitting in a vehicle, holsters are uncomfortable in a vehicle. Plus, you can't draw out of them if you're sitting down. With a fanny pack, you can pretty much draw if you're sitting or if you're standing. And also in the summer months, if you're not wearing a belt, if you're wearing shorts of some kind like gym shorts, then the fanny pack is a great option. It's just very convenient for me. I'm not saying you have to do that, but for me, I like to simplify my life. So that's pretty much it, guys. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.